Hello, I'm James Currie with the Communication Department here at MCHD, and I'm talking to Dr. Mike Hoppe. He's the senior pastor of Saraland United Methodist Church. Dr. Mike Hoppe, good morning.
Good morning, James. Glad to be with you again.
Yes, thank you. Our ongoing series here on the Enneagram, and I will skip all the lead-in parts here in the Cliff Notes. And if you want to know about the Enneagram personality profile, just watch some of our previous videos. But today we're talking about the personality type 5, which is the investigator. I find this personality type the most interesting. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think so too, James. Right before we went on the air here, we were talking about that, and I think you and I agree. 5 of all the 9 different types of the Enneagram personalities it's a fascinating one to me as well. The investigator is someone, once you've identified you're a 5 or there's a 5 in your life, this will make a lot of sense. How this number 5 personality type really ticks. This is a person that loves to study. They love to learn. They're learning new things all the time. They know a little bit about everything, and they don't lose their focus in their studies. They can be in their minds to such an extent that they can almost even block out the world around them, and they're the person that knows what they're talking about. So a number 5, it might be someone you would go to that has a lot of knowledge about different things and always is learning. And for that reason, I think 5 is one of the perhaps easier ones for me to identify, because I know several 5s in my life, and it fits their personality to a T. When I see them, it matches their style exactly.
Yeah, the the 5, the investigator. They, like we mentioned, they are the expert. They are the go-to person, and they want to be. They want to be the expert. They want to be so, blinders on, tunnel vision, focus on one particular thing at a time to be the expert. But with all of that good, that also, there is some downfall there. So, can you go into a little bit of the Achilles heel of a 5?
That's right. Just like every personality types, there are strengths and there are weaknesses. That's the way we're all built. And so some of those strengths, of course, we've already talked about, that they just really can focus in and study and learn new things, where a lot of other people lose their attention span so quickly. But the downside of that is, of all of the personality types, the number 5 is the least emotionally connected, both internally, meaning they don't allow emotions to play a part in their own life as much as any of the other personality types, and they don't connect emotionally with other people as well. And so, in fact, I have a friend who is a 5, a self-identified 5, and this is really interesting about him because he spent a lot of time in his own marriage simply trying to figure out what it is that he feels. He doesn't know what he feels because he spent so much time in his head. Now, 5s are in that thinking triad. There's 3 numbers that they tend to make decisions based on their thinking, and 5s are right there as one of those thinking types. And they're so much of a thinking type that, like I said, their feelings, they're really pushed down, and so they have a harder time engaging and connecting in a deeper emotional way, both with themselves and other people.
Yeah, also too with a 5, yes, emotions get in the way. They disrupt, and they take away the focus from whatever it is they're trying to be the expert on. Um, here's some real people examples of 5s. Let me just go through the short list here. Bill Gates,
Mm.
Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of Facebook, um, David Lynch, Tim Burton, um, Alfred Hitchcock, Stephen Hawking, um, Einstein, Bobby Fischer, the chess player. So, you know, this list here, like Hawking, for example, you intensely focus on, one thing and you become the expert at it. But, if you've watched the movie biography of his life, um, he had a hard time dealing with his wife and his family and his
That's right.
marriage. And, you know, when you focus on one thing, then, you're neglecting other things, obviously.
That's right. They can become experts in their field, and they're so intensely focused, like you said, they detach, and that detachment can cause some interpersonal issues. That's why one of the growth areas from a 5, if someone's identified that they're a 5, growth areas would be to really work extra at community, really work extra at trying to engage other people. One way that a 5 can do that really well is really work hard on listening, right? Because 5s are the expert on everything, and they love to tell you what they know, but to sit and really listen and try to understand people and engage people and understand feelings like my friend is attempting to do, that can really help a 5 in their relationships and in their overall health.
Hmm. Yeah, something else I read about fives too is, they have that predisposition to be separate, to be isolated. But it's helpful for five to have two or three very close friends that they can bounce some ideas off of and have some healthy conflict.
Hmm.
Conflict is a part of life. We can't assume that we're going to live our lives conflict free. Um, there are traffic signals on the road of life, and sometimes you get a red light and you have to stop. It's not always green.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and building that community beyond that one friend to building a whole healthier community. They can get so focused in. I think for a lot of 5s, the phrase analysis paralysis probably is familiar to them because they can study it to such a degree they lose the world around them. And the other personality types, we've talked about how their personalities, different personalities gravitate in moments of health and in moments of stress. And so when it comes to a 5, in a moment of health, a 5 tends to act more like a healthy 8. So a healthy 8 is, when you think of the positive characteristics of an 8, that would be confidence. That'd be confidence and presence with other people. And so they'll see some of those 8 qualities come out. But in unhealth, when a 5 is really stressed in a really, really bad place, they begin to look like an unhealthy 7. And in an unhealthy 7 would be someone who maybe is scattered, can't get things together, impulsive in their behavior. And so things become overwhelming, and that focus that they're so good at doing becomes lost. And that's when a 5 knows they need to do some work in their life.
And, we talked about this also too, is that um, of all the 9 personality types, there is not one that's better than the other, and they're all necessary for us to function in life. I mean, the whole, exercise that we're trying to do here with, behavioral health and wellness Wednesday is to help the overall person, mind, body, and spirit. So if you know yourself and you know other people that you interact with, you get along much better in life. Then you understand, okay, I see it now. I see why Bill Gates is successful, or I
Right.
understand, Einstein, why he theorized the things that he did. Um,
Right.
so if people are curious about what their personality type is, you can Google Enneagram. You can click on the links included in the video if you want to take the test. It's a paid test, but there's a lot of free tests out there. There's a lot of free resources, YouTube, the libraries, a lot of books. Um, so, and hopefully our series, as we continue, we've got personality type 6, 7, 8, and 9 still to cover. So hopefully someone will find what type they are and be able to go back to that specific video that we've, recorded to further figure out how they tick.
I appreciate James bringing light to the Enneagram. I hope it's helping some people out there. I'm a believer in counseling and in therapy when those times are needed, but these are some things that everyone can do anytime to understand themselves and really, this brings health not only just your own emotional and physical life, but in the relationships that you have. This is something that I believe everyone can and ought to do, to understand them and the people in their own lives. This is a great tool I found, not only in my workplace, but in my marriage and in my friendships. So I'm glad that you're highlighting these personality ways of assessing ourselves, and hope it can be useful to people.
Yeah, the famous phrase, why can't we all just get along? So, but anyway, Dr. Mike Hoppe, thank you for being on Wellness Wednesday.
Glad to be here.